Okay, so I think we can start. So, any question from the last lecture? We have started SQL, right? So, did you try your Apex account? Able to run few queries? No?
We tried.
Do you have a question?
Yeah, I have a question. Can you please repeat just the last part of creating the table? Because we create a table and we assign the primary key, but we're still struggling because we don't know how, like, did you get to the fact that everything is organized in that table, you know, with names and the personal information of the employees.
Okay. So, basically, to create table, we need one separate query, and to insert new record, we require another query. So, right?
I didn't get it yet. Because I was
Okay.
lying about
Okay.
sorry.
Okay. So no problem. We will see insert command again, and we will repeat group by and some other queries that we did in the last lecture. Uh, so we will go through again in today's lecture as well. And then we have very important SQL part in which we have to extract data from two or more tables, right? It's very easy. Select static from employees. Obviously, you can get data very easily from any one table. But in real scenario, you have to extract data from multiple tables, okay? And obviously you cannot do this thing that first of all you have to select data from one table and then select data from second table, and then you have to manually or traverse each and every row and compare your criteria, right? So in SQL we have very easy way to get data from multiple tables. In SQL we call this thing as joins, right? Join, simple join. So in today's lecture we will see how we can create joins between multiple tables. And obviously when we are joining two or more tables, we have to provide some criteria. For example, if I have one table of student, right, and another table in which all enrolled courses students have, right? So it means that I want to join these two tables, course enrollment table and student table, on the basis of student ID that should match in both tables, right? Then I can get, okay, for any particular student ID, let's say 2319, how many courses he or she has taken, right? So it means that I need some criteria to join two tables or three tables. So that criteria would be based on some attributes, okay? So for another example could be, for example, I have one table of employees, and obviously in employees table I would be storing department number or department ID, right? But obviously if I want to tell someone that, okay, this person is working in department HR or marketing or administration, then this name is not there. This name is in the department table. And obviously you don't want to tell someone that, okay, I work in department number 23 at NUI Galway. Obviously that's fine if you are working in some secret services or some sort of intelligence company, that's fine. uh, uh, you can tell, okay, my department is 23 or 75, but in most cases you have to tell actual name of the department, right? So it means that you have to join employees table and department table, but on the basis of department number, because department number of employee would match with the department number in department table, so that we can extract other information of that department. Okay, so we will see this thing in today's lecture. And for SQL I would say, because without SQL database is nothing, okay? So you can create a good database, but if you cannot use it, then uh, no use of like data modeling or sort of thing. So SQL is very important. So on this Friday I'm trying to arrange one tutorial for you people, it would be delivered by some teaching assistant, right? Some TA or TSS. So from 2 to 3 p.m. it would be online. That is fine. Time is fine, because in your schedule there is no SH class from 2 to 3 p.m.
Will it be recorded?
It will be recorded, yeah, but it would be good, like, if you can get that tutorial online, so that if you have any query, if you can ask question, right? So on this Friday we would have one online tutorial from 2 p.m. to 3 p.m. So on SQL, so that you can get more exposure of different queries, and if you have any question you can ask directly to TSS, right? Okay, so this is insert command. But before inserting any new data, we have to create this table. For example, here name is copy departments, right? So it means that create copy departments would contain these attributes, and then we have to tell data type of these attributes, and obviously primary key constant we have to tell this thing. If you are making your ERD in Oracle Data Modeler, then that create statement would be created automatically. Okay, what happened? So you can see, if we want to add one row, we have to tell table name, insert into is a SQL keywords, table name, any table name. Then these are the attribute names. Okay, why we are mentioning these attribute names? Because we can change orders. So that's why we are mentioning attribute names here. Okay, even sometimes we don't want to if we don't want to add location ID at the moment, for example, we don't know or something, then obviously we will be writing only 3 attribute names here and values, and we would be providing 3 values only here. Okay, but in this case there are 4 attributes, so we have to provide 4 exact match values. Like first one should be department ID, second one should be department name, human resources, and then manager ID 205 and location ID 1500. So same sequence, same order. Okay, so after the execution of this SQL statement, new record would be added in this table, and then we can populate our table. Okay, so for example, whenever you are signing up for Facebook account or something, this query would be executed at the end on the server. They will take your data from the web page, and obviously they will validate it. Okay, username does not exist, or password, length of password is okay or not, and some other mandatory attributes are written by or entered by user or not. And for example, if all the data is validated, then at the end DBMS will execute this query and will insert this record into a Facebook user account table. Okay, so this query will be executed to insert one record. If you have to record 10,000 or 20,000 entries or 10,000 users, you have to execute this similar query 10,000 times again and again. Okay, so we also saw this update command. This is very important because whenever you are doing some transactions and for example you are using your debit card or credit card, it means that your account should be updated accordingly. So it means that your data should be updated, right? So we have this SQL command, like update is a keyword, then we have to tell table name, and we are setting set is again keyword of SQL, and we are saying phone number is equals to this one 654321, comma last name is equals to Johns. Okay, so in this query we are changing 2 things, but the important thing for update is that we have to provide criteria, otherwise it will change complete column for all users. it will add phone number is equals to 654321, and obviously we don't want to change phone numbers of all students to one number. Okay, so that's why we need to specify this criteria condition. So for condition we would be saying that where employee ID is greater than is equals to 303. So all employees who have employee ID greater than and equals to 303, their phone numbers and last name would be changed. And you can see here we have two employees having employee ID 303 and 304. That's why their new last name is now Johns and their phone number is 654321. Okay, so this is update query. This is very simple query, same template, same query. You only have to change table names every time, right? And your attribute names and their values. So this is update command. But the important thing about this update command is that you must specify criteria. Otherwise, this update command will be executed on the complete table and it will update all attributes that you are mentioning. Okay. So take care when updating column values. If the where clause is omitted, every row in the table will be updated, right? And obviously in real scenario, we don't want to do this thing. This may not be what was intended. But sometimes, can you give any example where we want to update complete information for all people? Any example? Sorry? Might be we have students from, all students are from Ireland, and a person who was typing or entering Ireland, there was some typo in spelling, and I want to change wrong spellings of Ireland to correct one in all students data, and I know that all of the students are belong to Ireland or they are studying in Ireland. So update students data, set country is equals to Ireland, right, with correct spelling. So some sort of these things, sometimes we do need to change one column with one query. It will change all rows for that particular column. Okay. So then we saw some aggregated functions. Who will tell? For aggregation, we have different SQL commands. If we want some sort of summary of tables, then what are the commands for aggregation? Who will tell? Sorry? Aggregation, summarization. If I want to check salaries, total salary in a particular department or average salary, this is aggregation, right? So in SQL we have different functions. So for example, if you wanted to know the average height of all students, right, you could write a query that looks like this. Select AVG is a built-in function. Okay, it's a SQL function, aggregation function, and for AVG you have to provide attribute name, height, and from students. So basically you are just computing average height from students table. So we have average function, we have sum, min, max. These are the aggregate functions, and they are commonly used functions in SQL. Okay, because in many reports you need some sort of summary. For example, if some manager is saying, tell me how much we are paying to our employees, you have to compute sum of salary attribute, right? For example, might be for some banking transaction, you have to transfer total amount of money to one bank account, and then from that bank account you want to disperse money for each employee. Sum of salary would provide you total amount of the salary that you want to transfer. Okay, So these are the aggregation functions, and they are very important and commonly used in reports. So we have different statements, and even for example, instead of all students, for example, we want to compute average height of BIS students only. So it means that we have to provide some criteria. Okay, so which is very simple. Select average height from students where program is equals to BIS, for example. Okay, so program wise we can get average if we are doing some study or something. Same is the case here. For class 10 grade we are computing average, and similarly we can compute different for 11 or 12. And then, but if we need for all groups, then we have very good tool or keyword available in SQL, group by. Okay, so we saw different examples in the last week how to run group by query. Group by query is just like that. We want to find out for example, salaries per department. What is the average salary of each department, for example, computer science or BIS or EE, right, or social sciences people or faculty, right? So it means that we need information in terms of some group. Or for example, we want to check how much Erasmus students are there, how many Erasmus students are in the first year, in the second year or third year or fourth year programs. We just need some count, for example, 50, 70, 90. It means that we need summarization, some sort of summarization in terms of or with respect to some group. Okay, so this group by is a command, or in SQL we can use this thing and we can get results. And if we want to apply some condition on that group, for example, I want to figure out, okay, how many employees are working in each department, but I am only interested on those departments having a number of employees greater than 50, for example. Okay, so it means that on group data I want some condition, so I cannot use where clause. I have to use having clause. Okay, so we saw this example in the last week, so go through that recorded video and slides. So here you can see select department ID, average salary from employees, group by department ID. So for each group which is department ID, I want to compute average salary. So you can see here for department 10, this is the average salary. Same is the case with department 20, 50 and so on. Okay, so this group by is based on some attribute, and then it's computing average salary for this group, and just we are displaying this thing. Okay, so same is the case. We can select maximum salary from employees, group by department ID. Okay, so this would be the maximum salary. So we have different functions, max and min salaries, right? So another query, for example, this one. So select department ID, max salary from employees, group by department ID. Now instead of this, we are getting summary of that in department ID 90, maximum salary is 24,000, and there is a one person who has null value. This dash means in database is null. Okay, unknown. It means that no department is assigned to him. Might be he is CEO of the company because obviously or right, or he is very new to the company and company is just thinking about assigning department or something. Okay, so for department 20 we have 13,000 maximum salary. So on Apex you have to import schema, right? I have provided that schema. You can copy paste or you can add that file into your account, it will automatically create 30-40 tables in your account, and also it will populated many values in it. Okay, and then you can simply write this query and run it and can see, okay, how results are coming. So it's very important to practice SQL. Okay, so you cannot just say, okay, with dry run or orally you cannot learn SQL. You have to sit and you have to see, okay, how I can get results from DBMS. Because if you want to communicate with DBMS, SQL is the only language in relational databases to get information from DBMS. So we also discussed this thing that when we are aggregating something, we cannot print single attribute, because there is no sense if I am asking total number of employees, then what would be the last name, right, of employee? Obviously, it does not make any sense to print that thing. So that's why it will throw, DBMS will throw an error that this thing cannot be possible. So you have to remove this thing. Okay. Count is a function which simply returns number of rows of the result. Okay, so you can simply, if you want to count, okay, how many employees are working in each department, then count is very good function to return that value. Here we are counting country name in terms of country name with respect to region ID. Okay, so we can see in region 5 we have 15 countries, in region 9 28 countries. So by this way we can simply count if we want to count something. Okay, just like, for example, if I want to count how many students are enrolled in BIS program, then this count function would be very helping. Count student ID or something from enrolled students group by program or something, right? So by this way I can compute this thing. So we can also use a where clause to exclude rows before the remaining rows are formed into groups. Okay, so for example, we want to try grouping, but if we want some sort of criteria before the execution of group clause, then we can use where clause as well. So here we are excluding last name is not equals to king, and then we are computing this sort of thing. Okay. So here is another example, show the average population of all countries in each region. So round the average to a whole number. Okay, so basically round is another function, and then region ID and as population. What is this? Can anyone tell? Okay, I'm using this function round because I cannot say population in real numbers or some sort of, like, population is 23.3, so that's why I'm just rounding it. So can anyone tell what is this as population? Why I'm writing this thing? Who will tell? Because it is totally fine if I omit these two words as population. Okay, but what is this? What does this keyword as means in SQL? We saw examples in the class. No? Sorry? Can you repeat?
Name?
Exclude.
To give like alias,
Yeah.
is that common?
Yeah, right. So basically some sort of nickname, okay, or new name, so that we can, instead of getting this thing as a table column name, we will get this name, so that we, in the programming, we can easily use population keyword, right? So it's just a nickname or alias. Okay, so it's helpful in terms of human readability sort of thing, because sometimes you have some formula here, so instead of printing this formula, much better we know that okay, this is population, okay, total population or total salary or total increment, so we can use this sort of thing. So there are important guidelines to remember when using a group by clause. So if you include a group function, these are the group functions, in a select clause along with any other individual columns, each individual column must also appear in the group by clause. So same rule like that we have already discussed, that you cannot mention select this comma last name group by department ID. It will not allow. But if you want to still print something, then it means that you have to group by last name as well. Okay. So you cannot use a column alias in the group by clause, and the where clause excludes those before they are divided into groups. So groups within groups, sometimes you need to divide groups into smaller groups. For example, you may want to group all employees by department, then within each department group them by job. For example, in HR you want to check how many employees are working as a, for example, manager, or for example, in some other department, in finance department, how many employees are working as a cashier, for example, or right. So it is possible that you can group your data and then you can create subgroups from that data as well. For example, School of Business and Economics would have many programs. So might be I need total number of students, for example 2000, but out of 2000 I also need to subdivide into different programs, BIS program or commerce program or hotel management sort of thing, right? So it means that I also require subgroups. So for subgrouping, I can simply, this is my primary group, department ID. So in that example, so you can say that group by school of economics or school of computer science or something, then comma, and then you can also say that program ID or something, okay? So that we can know, okay, how many BS or MSc business analytics students are there, or BIS students are there in School of Business, right, and Economics. So we can use some sort of nesting group functions, select max average salary from employees group by department ID, and how many values will be returned by this query. Obviously it will be grouping by department. So if there are 10 departments, then obviously it would be returned by this sort of thing, right? And then we can suppose we want to find the maximum salary in each department, but only for those departments which have more than one employee, okay? So can you see this query? This query is correct or wrong? Take your time, 20 seconds, and think, will this query will return maximum salary in each department, but the other condition is that for that particular department, total number of employees should be greater than 1. So in this query we are writing select department ID max salary, that is fine. From employees, that is fine. Group by department ID, it means this is right, we are grouping with respect to department ID. But here we are saying that where count static is greater than 1. Okay, so this thing is not correct. If we want some criteria on group condition, we have to use having clause. We cannot use where clause. Okay, so this is the issue with this query, that we cannot use by this way, because just remember that this where clause will always run before group by clause in DBMS, in SQL, okay? So if one command is already executed, you cannot refine another data or another rows after that, right? Because this group by would be run after where clause. But the question is asking this group by clause, and after group by clause there must be another criteria that the total number of employees should be greater than 1. So it means that we cannot rerun again, right? So it means we need having clause, and this having clause, in the same way you use the where clause to restrict the rows that you selected, you can use the having clause to restrict groups. Okay, so for individual rows, if you want some sort of restriction, you require where clause. But if you want to restrict groups, you need having clause. Okay, is it clear? Or are you sleeping? How many students are sleeping? Who is not sleeping? Only 2 students. Okay. Okay. I know this 4 p.m. time is not good for DBMS. Next time 10 a.m. time. I know you have classes from 9 a.m. Okay. Long day. So by this way, you can see instead of where clause, we are writing having here. Okay. So having counts static greater than 1. So by this way, so we are only getting salaries or maximum salaries of departments which have employees greater than 1. Same is the case with some sort of population. We can put any criteria of minimum population greater than 300,000, right? So we can put some criteria in having clause. So group by, having, order by. So this is the order of execution. Select from table where, group by, having, and order by. Do you have any question? Because we are starting joins. So joins are important. Yeah.
Sorry, sir, is this slide on the platform? It's like
On the
blackboard.
these slides are not, because yeah, but it will be available. It will be available. Okay. So in real scenarios, we have to extract or obtain data from multiple tables. Okay, so it means that we have to join 2 tables, and this joining process is time consuming and costly. Okay, so when we were discussing normalization process, because you know that in first normal form, second normal form, third normal form, whenever there is issue, we create a new entity. Remember this thing, right? In first normal form, there were few attributes who are causing trouble. We just say, okay, pick or remove that attributes and make a new entity for them. It means that instead of 1 entity, we are creating 2 entities now. And we know that when we have to map these entities, technically 2 entities means at least 2 tables, right? Until and unless there are some relationships and sometimes intersection entities, but we are dead sure that for 2 entities there must be at least 2 tables are there. So if there are 2 tables, it means we have to join them and then we have to extract data, and this joining process is time taken. This joining process is expensive. in terms of computation, because you from the memory you have to extract both two tables, and then you have to get data into your RAM and then join it and get results from that, right? So that's why this joining process is slow as compared to getting data from one table, right? Because one table, you have to get one table from the hard disk, and then in RAM you have to apply it, and then you can quickly get results. But the problem with having one table was that duplication, redundancy, right? We have to, so why we do normalization? Because we want to avoid redundancy, right? And redundancy has its own issues. For updation, we have to update a lot of times or different things, but this is a threshold. Like if you want fast results, then you have to compromise on redundancy, right? But if there is no issue of time or something, but you want to store your data efficiently, then obviously third normal form, or even there are fourth and fifth normal forms are there, but no one is using nowadays fourth normal form or fifth normal form because of websites. On web, you require your results quick, right? So it cannot be time taken results. So that's why people can compromise in their systems up to 2 second normal form or maximum third normal form, okay? So this joining process is expensive because you are joining two tables, but there is no way you cannot put all data in one table, right? But this joining process is easy with the help of SQL. For example, you can see in this table, I want to know what is the department name of King. Okay. Just imagine this is one Excel sheet. All of you know Excel sheets, right? So just imagine this is one Excel sheet and this is second Excel sheet, worksheet. How you will find what is the name of the department of Mr. King, let's say? How you will tell?
Department ID.
Okay, so it means that from one worksheet you will find, okay, 90 is the department ID of this person. Then you will go to the next sheet and you will check, okay, for 90, okay, there is no 90, not showing. There is 90, but for example, for this one, 110, we know that this 110 department name is accounting, right? So it means that similarly, what we are doing, we are joining two sheets on the basis of one criteria, which is department ID, employees dot department ID is equals to departments dot department ID, right? So this is the criteria. And we also discussed this thing that attribute names could be same in different tables, no problem, right? Here it is not same. Here it is dept underscore ID and here it is department underscore ID, but it is totally fine if employees also have an attribute name as department underscore ID. There is no issue in terms of Oracle or in terms of SQL, okay? So this joining is very similar to this process, that for two tables, you have to provide criteria. What is the criteria? That attribute of one table would be equals to attribute of another table. So it will do matching and then it will bring results for you that match rows. Because for 110, it will easily tell you, okay, its department name is accounting and then location ID is 1700. So it means that we have another table of locations, okay? So from location, we have to check what is the city or country name of this location, 1700, okay? So here, if we want to know, okay, this employee is working in Galway or in Limerick or some other city, it means that we have to join at least three tables: employees, departments, and locations.
I played Last of Us, I played.
Okay, I think we can start again. So we have different joins, and I discussed this thing that in SQL we can get results in different ways. Okay, we can get same results in different ways. So might be for one SQL query, like for one result we can write in two or three different ways to get that result. So in terms of SQL that would be fine, but there is another query optimization thing that which query would take more time to get results, right? But query optimization, we are not covering this sort of thing in this course, but this is very important because if someone is writing one query which is very costly and it's getting results, same results that was can be get by another query, then obviously we will prefer that query which will run in less time, right? So same is the case with joins. We have multiple options to join different tables in different ways, but obviously we require some sort of time efficient joins. Okay, so in terms of join we have one keyword or one type of join known as natural join. So natural join can be used to combine two or more tables. But there is some criteria when we can use natural join to get data. So natural join from word you can get that, okay, when we have same name of columns in two tables, for example I want natural join of two tables, then natural join requirement is that the column name should be match, okay, exact match. Department underscore ID is a part of employee table and department underscore ID is a part of departments table. Then we can apply, and the data type of both attributes are also same. Then we can apply a natural join. Okay. So for example, if we have employees table and jobs table, and you can see employees table have one attribute job underscore ID. And same with same title of this attribute in jobs table as. So now we can apply natural join between these two tables. Okay, got this point? When we can apply natural join of two or more tables when they have same name of the attribute, same name, and the data type should also match. Okay, so then we can apply natural join. So syntax of natural join is very simple. So you can see here we are selecting first name, last name, job ID, job title from employees. Then we are providing keyword natural join. So this table would be joining natural join with jobs table. And here we can provide some criteria, but we can skip this criteria, but this is important. So you can see here we are not providing any joining criteria because of natural join sort of thing, because they know that there is one attribute that is already matched in terms of name, right? Then we can apply natural join. So if we execute this sort of query, then you can see now I can make a report of all employees with their job IDs and their job titles. Otherwise it was not possible if I am not joining two tables, right? So you can see here first name, last name, this job underscore ID, this job underscore title is coming from jobs table. So we can see this thing. So this is natural join, and same is the case with locations. So syntax is simple. Here when we are joining two or three tables, we can get all the attributes from all tables, right? So from departments, natural join locations. So we will get department name and city for this these two tables. We also can do cross join, and in most of the time we don't need cross join. Do you know cross join? What is a cross join? For one row we are joining all the rows of other tables, right? This is a cross join. So for example, if there are n rows in one table and m rows in another table, then it means that n into n multiplied by m rows results will be we can get from this cross join. Okay, so see 20 rows in one table and 100 rows in another table, so 20 into 100 we can get these 2000 rows for cross joining. So we can do this thing simply by selecting the different attributes from employees, cross join departments. So here we are not providing any criteria, but we are just cross joining this sort of thing. Any idea where we can use this query, cross join? It could be a student if they want to enroll in some courses over 4 years, so might be it could be a cross join sort of thing, but usually we don't need this cross join, right? So if there is no natural join possible, like natural join is possible when we have same column names, right? But remember, in one table there was department number and in another table attribute name was dept underscore ID or dept underscore number, right? It means that we cannot apply natural join. So we can use using clause. In a natural join, if the tables have columns with the same name but different data types, the join causes an error. Okay. To avoid this situation, the join clause can be modified using a using clause. Okay. The using clause specifies the columns that should be used for the join. So syntax is very easy. Instead of natural join, we will remove natural from here. Join employees table, join departments table using department underscore ID. So if data type is not same, but the attribute name is same, then we can use using clause instead of natural join. Okay. So far we have discussed two things, natural join and using clause. But there is another option on, we can use on clause, and I always prefer this clause because with on clause you don't have to use natural join or even using join. Okay. So you can simply use on clause here. So same is the case with this example, but this on clause is very easy to use. Okay. So what if the columns to be joined have different names, or if the join uses non-equality comparison operators such as greater than, equals to, or between, then we obviously cannot use using, so instead we will use on clause. Okay. So even if they are same, you can use on clause for joining tables. So instead of remembering 3-4 different types of joining commands, you can only use this on clause to do all type of work. Okay. So here you can see example. Select last name, job title from employees. Here there is a small e. It means that this is technically it's an alias of this table, employees. Okay. So it's a good practice to use alias in joining for table names. Why? Sometimes you can mention e dot last name. Okay, e means table name. So table name dot last underscore name, because sometimes there are some other columns that are commonly present. For example, I have one employees table with one column name, and I have departments table with column name. Okay. So how I will distinguish between name attribute that it should come from employees table? So I would say e dot name, d dot name. So e dot name means I'm talking about name attribute from the employees table. When I'm saying that d dot name, it means that I'm talking about name attribute from the departments table. So that's why I need aliasing or nickname sort of thing for tables. And here you can see they are using for from employees E, join jobs table J, and on, in on you have to provide condition now. You are saying that E dot job underscore ID is equal to J dot job underscore ID. So this is the criteria of joining. And you can use same this query, so you can forget about natural join or using clause. You can use simple on clause for everything. Okay, got this point? Why we are using E dot job underscore ID D dot, because same name would be ambiguous for DBMS. Okay, so we have to tell we are talking about job underscore ID of job table. So that's why we are saying that J dot job underscore ID. You can say, you can, instead of not using aliasing, you can write it here employees dot job underscore ID. That's fine. But obviously if you are writing so many attributes, writing employees every time would be more difficult or time taken. So you can use aliases, right? So then you can put some criteria as well. This criteria, after this joining, you can put some criteria that last name should be like starting with capital H, right? So you can see last name would be coming from capital or uppercase H. Same is the case on clause. You can use different non-equality operators, and between operators are there. So in on operator you can use any criteria to join different tables. Same is the case if you want to join 3 tables, then you are doing this sort of thing, like same attribute that you want to display, then from employees join departments using this criteria, join locations using this criteria. Okay, so you can use join using, or even after that we will see one example in which I would be using on criteria. So any question about joining 2 tables? Can you write this query on your notebook, this one? If you don't have a notebook, you can write on your laptop, Notepad or MS Office, Word, and try to understand what's going on in this query, because this is very important. You have to join multiple tables, so you have to provide different things, and in this query we are getting so we are printing last underscore name and job title just like this from employees, and here this E is alias for employees table, nickname, some sort of thing. Join is a keyword, so this table is joining with this table, jobs, alias is J. On some condition. Condition is that employee dot or E dot job underscore ID should match with J dot job underscore ID. Okay, so by this way we can get results. So that's why we know that okay, King has a job title president in this company. Same is the case with different Taylor or so. Any question? Joining 2 tables and getting data from that table. So on Friday we would have a tutorial. Do attend from 2 p.m. to 3 p.m. Okay, it would be online, so you can attend anywhere. So in which we would be running different queries, SQL queries, and it would be good if you have your Apex account open and you can just try with her and same queries. So I will provide her same code that we are using in this course. So hopefully the queries would be runnable on your system if you have already uploaded schema in your account. Okay. So this is about joining three tables. The last thing about today is that sometimes, so far what we are doing is that, for example, I am getting data from one table that is matching with some other table. But can anyone tell, sometimes we also need data where there is no matching. For example, all of you are submitting your assignments, right? I want to check who has submitted his or her assignment. What does it will do? Query would be from students table, it will match submitted assignments table and student ID would be matched. But I also want to know that, okay, who are the students who didn't submit their assignment, right? Right? So it means that this result will not come on equal operator. Right or wrong? For other example could be, so this could be, so it means that I need data for matching and non-matching as well. For example, so that I can see, okay, 20 students have submitted assignment, but these are the 5 students who haven't submitted their assignment or something, right? So for that purpose, we need some sort of outer join, and in outer joins we have 3 types: left outer join, right outer join, and full outer join. So left outer join is simply is that, like, left in terms of 2 tables. When we are writing 2 table names, just like in the previous example, we were saying that from employees join jobs, right? So left table was employees and right table was jobs. So left outer join means I need all rows from the employees table, even if they are not matched with the right one. Match and non-matched. Okay, so this is left outer join. But if I want rows from the right table, then it could be right outer join. And full outer join is that I need all matched rows, all rows that are matched from left table, and all rows that are not matched from right table as well. So 3 things: matched, not matched from left side, not matched from right side. Because there would be might be there is one assignment that no student has submitted that assignment, might be, right? So it will not come if we check from left side, but we have to check from right side as well. So for this purpose we have different types of inner and outer joins, right? So inner joins and outer joins are in terms of left, full, and right. So we have seen examples of inner join. This using clause or on clause is example of inner joins where some criteria was matching. But in outer joins we also require that number of rows for there is criteria is not matching. Okay. So just like, for example, if university wants to check how many students have submitted their fees and dues, but they also want to check how many students haven't submitted, that sort of thing. So matched and non-matched. So this is very simple. You can see from select, from employees. So we are saying that left outer join. So instead of writing join, we are writing left outer. Okay. So this new keyword is added, left outer, department D on this criteria. So you can see even if this last name is empty, so it's still, because it's not matching with any department ID sort of thing, but this result is still coming. Okay. Same is the case with this last name Grant. So you can see there is no department ID assigned, so that's why we are not getting any department name. So this is because of left outer join. So in short, left outer join is just like that. You want all matched rows of left table and unmatched rows as well, so that you can know that okay, which rows are not matched with that other table. So this is left outer join. Same is the case with right outer join. It means that we want all departments data which is not matched with the employees data. Okay? Is it confusing? Yes or no? Okay, I can repeat again in simple words. I will try. So if I want to join two tables, it means that I need some criteria to be fulfilled, right? So if that criteria is true, then inner join results will bring join data. For that rows where that criteria is not fulfilled, inner join will not bring that data. If you need that data as well, then you require outer joins. Okay? Left outer joins, right outer joins, full outer joins. Clear little bit? Why do we require inner join and outer joins? So for inner join, using clause, on clause, natural join are the examples of inner joins. They need one criteria, and if that criteria is met, it will bring only that rows that are matched with that criteria. It will not bring unmatched rows. But in real data sets, in real databases, we do have rows that are not matched, and sometimes we want to check it. For example, if I want to check how many students or who has submitted this assignment, but I also want to check who has not submitted that sort of thing, it means that that matching is not there. So it means I have to use outer join. Okay. So outer join syntax is there, left outer join, and same is the case with right outer join. Here you can see that right, okay, left and what is left and right in terms of tables. First table name you are writing is your left table. Second table name that you are writing is your right table. Okay. So this is left outer join. All rows that are matched or not matched, left outer join will come will bring all rows. Okay, of left table. For right outer join, it will bring all rows that are matched with the left one and that are not matched with the left one. So this is right outer join. And if we execute full outer join, so it will bring all matched, all non-matched left side, and all non-matched right side. So three things. Okay. Inner joins can only bring one thing, matched rows. Okay. Left and right outer joins will bring matched and non-matched according to the left side or according to the right side. Full outer join will bring three things: matched, left rows that are not matched, right rows that are not matched. So three things. Okay. So I have one very small video we can see, and we can execute SQL queries. So then this joining process would be more clear to you, hopefully. So where is the video? Okay. So here you can see we have one table locations, right? And this location table has attributes location underscore ID, street address, postal code, city, state, province, country ID. So this is the main schema of this table, locations. Then we have another table, departments, and you can see in departments we are using location underscore ID. Okay, so another schema. So two tables. So data is there. So for this particular department name, location ID. And then we have another table, employees. And you can see in employees table, we have employee underscore ID, first underscore name, last name, email. So these are the three tables that we are going to execute join statements, join SQL statements on it. Okay, so this is a schema. Okay, so I'm just writing select first underscore name, comma department underscore name from employees, natural join, departments table. So for natural join, this is the only query we can easily execute, but it is only possible when both tables, employees and department tables, have one common attribute with same name, with same data type, and we have department underscore ID or number, right? So we can execute this join table query, and you can see we got results. So first name is there and department name is there. Okay, so this is natural join query. So if we cannot apply natural join, then we can use using clause. So in using we have to tell attribute name. So here I have to tell department underscore ID. So same results can be achievable by using another SQL query. So right. So you can use natural join, you can use using, but I would prefer if you can practice only on clause, same results would be there. So here I'm aliasing, providing employees as a E, and then I can write E dot first underscore name, D dot department underscore name, and here that's fine. So because this is now on clause, right? So let me stop here. So you can see now I'm not using using clause. So here I am just adding on clause, but in on clause I have to provide criteria, and criteria I am saying that E dot department underscore ID should be equal to D dot department underscore ID. So far we have seen 3 examples of same results. So result would be same for this query. So that's why I was saying that instead of using natural join or using clause, you can just practice on clause. It will bring same results as well. Okay. So same results, 3 different queries, but same results. So even after joining, we can provide some criteria like where first name, like it would be starting, right, with P. So there are two employees, Peter and Pat, and they are working in shipping and marketing department. Okay. And criteria could be anything. It shouldn't be first name only. It could be on last name, and obviously there is no employee with last name starting with P, but there is one employee. There are two employees, in fact. Last name. Here we are not printing last name, so we can change or we can add E dot last name. So you can see there are two employees having last name started with K. So this is on clause query, right? So for example, I'm trying to get data from 3 tables. So I can modify this query and I also want name of the department as well as the location, city of that department. And it's present in the locations table. So I have to add another thing. So I will remove this thing. Then I will say join locations. And alias could be small l. Then I have to provide criteria on so here I will say d dot location underscore id is equals to l dot location underscore id. So now I can execute this query to get results from 3 tables, right? So you can see now city is also there. So it means that this department is working in Toronto or Oxford or Southlake, right? So by this way we can combine 3 tables. Usually maximum 3 tables are required. In some cases 4 tables, but maximum 3. Otherwise, in most cases, 2 are fine to get results. So by this way, you can execute different queries. So we can test some left outer join. That's fine, we will remove this thing. So instead of join, we are saying that left outer join. So what does this left outer means? We need data from employees. Left means left table. In this query, left is your left is also employees, right table, and right table is departments. So this left outer join means we require data from employees table which is matched with departments table as well as data that is not matched employees table. Okay, so that is not matched from the employees table. So this is left outer join. So we can sort this data so that we can see. Okay. Same is the case with right outer join. So now this right outer join means we require data from departments table that is matched with employees table and that is not matched from employees table, okay, with employees table. So technically we are getting all complete data from department table when we are joining right join, right? Matched and unmatched. So we can sort data, so that then there would be some examples you can see here, because it's only showing 10 result. So for example, with department name, so here you can see this contracting department. For this contracting department, there is no employee working in it. You can see. So this is the benefit of right outer join. Right, we can find out, okay, for accounting table these two employees are working, that's fine, but for this contracting department we can quickly know that, okay, there is no employee in contracting department. Okay, so there is no employee in contracting department. Same is the case, we can do it with left outer join, so that we can check, is there any employee to whom and no department is assigned. So we can simply see this thing. So is there an employee? Yes. So this Grant Kimberly, or Kimberly Grant, is an employee. She is not assigned to any department. Okay, so you can see this dash. It means that this employee is not assigned to any department, and we got this result because of this outer join, left outer join. And if we write full outer join, so technically full outer join is just a combination of left outer join plus right outer join. All the results that are coming from full outer join, from left outer join and right outer join, will be come by this full outer join. Okay, so just a combination or union, you can say that, of results.